When you think about it, every city is built from two completely different materials. First, you've got the hardware, the concrete, the steel, the stuff you can actually touch. But then you've got the software, the stories, the culture, the dreams of the people who live there. And right now, in San Pedro, California, something pretty amazing is happening. The city's hardware and its software are being built at the exact same time. Let's dig into how. So let's start with the hardware. The Port of Los Angeles is pushing ahead with a $67.4 million plan for a new outer harbor cruise terminal. This is a massive piece of infrastructure. We're talking about something designed to handle the biggest ships in the world and welcome visitors on an incredible scale. It's like the city is pouring this giant concrete foundation for a whole new era. And that's not even all of it. There's another $112.1 million being pumped into a new pedestrian bridge and promenade. The goal there? To finally connect the Wilmington community right to its own waterfront. I mean, these are enormous, tangible investments that are going to completely reshape how people experience the harbor. The stage is definitely being set for something huge. And that brings us to the real question, doesn't it? With all this focus on building bigger terminals and grander bridges, what happens to the soul of the city? As all this hardware gets a massive upgrade, who's making sure the software, the actual voice of the community, is getting written? Well, to answer that, we've got to zoom way in. We need to go from the massive scale of the port to a single historic building in downtown San Pedro, 363 West 6th Street, a building that, for a very long time, was pretty much forgotten. This is where Jennifer Wolfe comes in. She's one of the building's new owners, and she brings this totally unique perspective. See, as a therapist, she's literally trained to see where things are broken. And when she walked into this old, leaking, beat-up building, she didn't just see a pile of bricks. She saw a patient, something with real wounds and scars that needed to be healed, not just torn down. And wow, this building has lived so many lives. It was born back in 1922 as a bustling JCPenney. Then in the 80s, it became a stuffy, windowless call center. In the 90s, a t-shirt shop. In the 2000s, it was a dance studio. Until 2020, when the music just stopped. Each one of those chapters reflects the changing story of the town. And by 2024, the building was just silent, waiting. So the vision for what this building could become, it's not rooted in some corporate business plan. It's actually rooted in a family legacy. The whole project is called the Don Allen Experience. And to really get it, you first have to understand the people behind those names. Right, so Don Allen isn't a brand. It's a mashup of Jennifer's parents, Donna and Allen. Her mom, Donna, was a psychologist. She was the quiet, guiding light, the lantern, who taught that empathy is something you practice, a real discipline. Her dad, Allen, was a cardiologist who became a venture capitalist. He was the resilient core, the spine, who truly believed that failure was never the end, just a rough draft of success. That whole philosophy, that's the blueprint for this entire building. And for Jennifer, this mission became deeply, deeply personal. Standing at her parents' grave in a cemetery that overlooks the very harbor they loved so much, she made a promise. This project became her way of building something real, something meaningful, something worthy of their memory and that view. But look, turning a heartfelt promise into a physical reality is never easy. That romantic vision quickly slammed into the brutal, harsh facts of trying to renovate a neglected 100-year-old building. Pretty early into the demolition, the whole dream was on life support. The budgets just exploded. They found fire sprinklers that had been literally painted shut, a silent disaster just waiting to happen. It got so bad that one night, Jennifer whispered to her partner, Edwin, that they might have to sell. The dream was actually collapsing. And then a small voice just cut through all that despair. Her young son, Nathan, zipped past her on his little scooter, patted one of the scarred walls, and just said, "It's okay, Mommy. I'm fixing it too." And in that one moment, quitting just wasn't an option anymore. His innocent belief gave them the strength they needed to keep going. So that changed everything. Their whole approach shifted. This wasn't just construction anymore. It was like therapy for the building. They decided not to hide its history under a bunch of new drywall, but to actually honor its scars, to keep its grit. They wanted the space to feel authentic and strong, like, in their own words, a handshake from a dock worker. And deep in the basement of this resurrected building, that's where you find its pulsing heart. This is the place where the city's software is actually going to be created. This is Voxel Micro Video Labs. Even the name Voxel is a tribute to that idea of tenacity. It was the name of Jennifer's father's ambitious medical imaging company that, well, despite his brilliance, it ultimately failed. By bringing the name back, they're embedding his whole philosophy right into the walls. Failure is just the rough draft of success. It's never the end. And they've built this place with so much warmth, not cold corporate sterility. The studios aren't just Studio A or Studio B. No, each one is named after one of their 12 nieces and nephews, who, by the way, don't even know about this tribute yet. The whole point is for local creators and storytellers to walk in and immediately feel a sense of belonging. Like, wow, this space was really built for us. So this brings us completely full circle. You have the Port of Los Angeles, with its hundreds of millions of dollars, building this massive, impressive new stage right on the waterfront. And in the heart of downtown, inside an old resurrected department store, Voxel Labs is building the microphone. It's the perfect combination, right? The hardware can draw in the crowds, but it's the software, the city's voice, that will give them a reason to connect, a reason to stay. One creates the platform, the other makes sure the stories can finally be told. But there is one final, really beautiful layer to this whole story. After being together for 18 years, Jennifer and her partner, Edwin, have decided to get married. And they're not doing it in some rented hall. In the summer of 2026, they're going to get married right there, inside the building they saved. After pouring their entire lives into it, the building has become their ring, their altar. So it really leaves us all with this thought. As our own cities and our own towns pour the concrete for tomorrow, as they build the new bridges and terminals and towers, it's worth asking ourselves, who is building the microphone? Who is fighting to save the soul of the place, to amplify the stories, and to make sure that the heart of the community has a voice loud enough to actually be heard?